Welcome to Fringe Pop 321, the show that believes the world is stranger than we think, but thinking should not be strange. So why is E.T. Mr. Right Stuff dressed up like he is? Well, because he's a pilot, of course. He and his kin have millions of flight hours, mostly because they've been flying through the skies of Earth for millennia. But in the ancient past, they didn't really fly in spaceships and anti-gravity modification vehicles. They used helicopters and jets. Don't believe me? Well, here's proof. Surely you've seen this picture before. The whole internet has. Right there, see, there's a helicopter and next to it, a jet. Aliens helped the Egyptians develop both kinds of flying machines, don't you know? So what do you say now? Overwhelmed by the evidence? Well, let's not be so hasty or so arrogant. We need to take a closer look at this. The picture you just saw is perhaps the most famous image from the archaeology of ancient Egypt that is offered in support of ancient alien visitation in ancient Egypt. It's known as the Abydos helicopter. The name comes from a set of hieroglyphs found above a doorway within the temple of Seti I in Abydos. The hieroglyphs appear to show modern machines, a helicopter, and perhaps a jet. The image is actually well known to Egyptologists who reject the notion that it depicts these modern aircraft. The reason for the rejection is not disdain for ancient alien theory, although they'd consider that idea ridiculous. The reasons Egyptologists laugh at the helicopter or jet suggestion is because they know how to read hieroglyphics. They also know these weird hieroglyphs aren't real hieroglyphs. They were created by accident. If you're an ancient aliens believer, that probably sounds like a cop-out. It's actually not. It's actually the truth, and it's actually easy to prove. Egyptologists have long known about these hieroglyphs in Seti I's temple. Some things are important to note at the outset of our analysis. In fact, they're indispensable to knowing what you're actually looking at in that image. First, these hieroglyphs occur nowhere else in all of Egypt. They are unique. We'll find out why when we learn how they were made. Second, because they're unique, they have no meaning in the Egyptian language. Third, this is a temple, not a tomb. It's a temple constructed by two pharaohs, a father, Seti I, and his son, Ramses II, also known as Ramses the Great. If you've ever seen the movie The Ten Commandments, these are the two pharaohs in the movie that have something to do with Moses in the view of the people who made that movie. Fourth, we know all of the above because of records produced by both pharaohs. We're not guessing. Now, these last 2 points are crucial. Seti I died before finishing his temple. His son Ramses II, Ramses the Great, had it hastily completed and decorated several sections of the temple in his own honor. In the process of completing the temple, Ramses II had scribes carve inscriptions over existing inscriptions that Seti had previously ordered for the temple. The result of that is that the temple of Seti I has several instances where some hieroglyphs have been superimposed over earlier hieroglyphs. That process is how these odd hieroglyphics were created. This superimposition of one set of hieroglyphs over the top of another is called a palimpsest. The same thing happens in manuscripts of, say, the Greek New Testament, where ink will bleed through a papyrus and then get superimposed on the text on the other side. It's an accident. Now, it's one thing to propose all that as a solution. The real test of its explanatory power is, does it work? Can we retrovert the two sets of inscriptions, the two sets of hieroglyphs? And do they make sense on their own? And the answer to that is yes. Egyptologists have complete assurance of the palimpsest explanation because the two sets of superimposed inscriptions are well known, and they occur many times in Egyptian texts. That's because Seti I and Ramses II were very famous pharaohs who did lots of building. There are lots of these inscriptions. The Medu-Neter website has produced a glyph-by-glyph explanation of this, but what I'm going to tell you here for the purpose of time and detail is just a summary. The original hieroglyphs that you can see that were ordered by Seti I are actually part of his titulary. Now, the titulary is a term that Egyptologists and others use for the names of the pharaoh. And in Egypt's case, each pharaoh had 5 names, so there is a 5-fold titulary. These glyphs are part of Seti I's titulary. Take a good look at them. The translation, again, this is part of Seti's name, one of his names, reading left to right, is the 9 bows, and you can see there are 9 vertical strokes underneath a bow in the left-hand side. The 9 bows, and then the other side reads, "He who drives out." Now look at the hieroglyphs ordered by Ramses as part of his replacement titulary in the Temple of Seti I. They are related to his name and what he's famous for as well. Take a good close look at them. The translation of these particular hieroglyphs, again reading left to right, is "to conquer" or "subdue," and then "he who protects Egypt." If you can read a little bit of hieroglyphs, it's "he who protects Kemet," which is the word for ancient Egypt. Now guess what happens when you superimpose the two sets? Does this look familiar? You bet it does. It should. These are both sets of those glyphs we just talked about, those hieroglyphs, put over top of each other. And lo and behold, it's exactly what we have in the lintel above the door that's supposed to be a helicopter. The fact that the superimposition of both of these sets of well-known hieroglyphs, well-known parts of each pharaoh's name, the fact that they produce the unique set of glyphs is proof positive that they are the result of re-carving. They are accidental. This is why they're unique, and it's why they have no particular meaning in and of themselves. Unfortunately, this most famous example of alien influence in ancient Egypt is really nothing more than a mirage. It's a visual deception. The Abydos helicopter or jet plane is not real. Thanks for watching Fringe Pop 321. For more information on this episode and other subjects, other episodes, please visit our website and keep watching, because what you know may not be so.